Good.
Hello. How are you?
We're doing well. We were waiting for you on some other platform.
Oh,
So
we were in the wrong
yeah, we were
location.
in the wrong location. Sorry, I'm
Sorry.
glad we're here now. Yeah.
That's okay. I apologize. But it worked out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to have you
Excellent.
here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Likewise.
too. Thanks for inviting us to do this.
No worries. So I'll just introduce myself really quickly and then give you both the microphone to everyone who's watching. I'm Laura Campos. I'm an artist and I'm a test team member. I mostly do the social media and the live events you see all over on Instagram. And we're here with Mark and Lenka to talk about their upcoming intensive, Something Out of Nothing. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Yes. Would you like to talk a bit about yourselves for those who don't know you and the class?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Lenka Clayton. I'm an artist. I'm originally from England, but I'm living in Pittsburgh, PA, which is where we are at the moment. Um, Mark and I met about 27 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. We've known each other for a very long time. Yeah.
And this is the second time that we'll be working together, co-teaching this class, and we did it last year. It was incredibly exciting, and so yeah, we're doing it again this year.
Yeah, and I'm Mark Dion. I've done quite a few classes now for the Alternative Arts School, and as much as I love those classes, I thought it's really time to mix it up and do something fun. And I very much understand how to work in my own methodology and have my own way of doing things, but sometimes I need a break from that. And I thought, who better to hang out with and spend time with and co-teach than with Lenka? So we both have a very similar sensibility in terms of as artists, we kind of think on our feet. We work very quickly, and I think that's part of what this workshop is about, is helping people to come up with ideas quickly, to think fast, not be precious, to experiment and let go of their own confinements and methodologies.
Yes, yes. That's so wonderful to hear. And I mean, the title kind of teases that a little bit with something out of nothing. And if you could talk a little bit about how the class provides that experience for students, if there are any student expectations of finished work, maybe, and all of that.
Yeah, so we try to keep the structure of the class as simple as possible. We begin with sort of Mark and I sharing our work, sharing a little bit about projects that kind of expands this idea of working quickly on your feet and making something out of nothing. So we kind of talk a little bit about our own experience and approach to that within our practice to kind of contextualize it. And then we set essentially a series of prompts that we all sort of discussed it. We talk about together. We share them with the class, and then we go off when we sort of hang up. We go off into our lives for that evening, and then people are working on these prompts, and we come in the next day or a few days later, and then we share the work that we're making together. So this is kind of like the prompts are open, they're funny, you can take in any direction you want. They're sort of, you can use whatever materials you have to hand, you can take it wherever you want. So everyone's making, they're able to sort of occupy their own interests, but then we're having this sort of collective class time in which we can share it. And that was one of the things that was so exciting, I think, about the last class. Like everyone's had the same starting point, and you come back with these radically different kind of approaches and answers to that prompt that we then get to experience together.
Yeah, so it's not really a sort of lecture heavy course where we're kind of having a very formal relationship to to presenting information. It's really about having that interactive element with the people who are taking the class and ourselves, and kind of everyone gets a chance to solo in this course. So everyone shows us what they're doing, and but at the same time, it's not about creating precious finished things. It's really about doing the best you can with the limited time. It's an intensive, so it's really only 6 days, and there's only one period after the third class where you really have a long time to do the assignments. Otherwise, the assignments have to be done, sort of in the evening and really quickly. And we find that people shine and try things that they've never done before, and a lot of the responses are performative or video or and they may not be things that people are thought that they could do or are comfortable with, and but then they find out that actually they have some facility in this.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yes, I can see that, for example, for myself, I haven't taken the class, but I work in a very time-based medium of sorts, like I do analog photography and I work with film. So for me to take this class, it would mean that I would need to be like think on my feet to work with something that wasn't going to consume 1 or 2 months to be
Yes.
made. And I think that's very interesting and exciting for many different mediums of work
Yeah.
out there.
Hmm.
And I feel like a big part of the school is collaboration, even though you said, Mark, that there's a chance for students to go solo. I have a feeling that there's still room for collaboration in the class,
Hmm.
maybe doing the critiques or when they show the work. How do you think this like shows up while you're teaching it?
Well, I mean, there are directly collaborative assignments,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the middle of the course, where people get to work together as a team, and they can be put together in a very random
Mm-hmm.
way. So that's also a lot of fun, and you have people bringing together different kinds of expertise. Also, one of the great things about the alternative art school is that it tends to have a wider range of ages. So you
Mm-hmm.
have this multi-generational learning, which is also kind of amazing.
Yeah, and also like the people that we're working with. Many people might identify as artists, but some people might come from completely unrelated fields, and that was a strength in the last group that we had. So people
Mm-hmm.
that and some people might be very familiar with working in certain materials, but we're all on the same level in this
Mm-hmm.
class. No one knows what we're doing, and we've all got the same amount of time, and we're all working in new ways and with new materials. So it's a really nice way to kind of work collaboratively together, and then we're all sharing the outcomes of the projects collaboratively and discussing them. So there's a lot of learning just through that conversation of just seeing the different ways that people approached something.
Yeah, and last time we had a biologist, a geneticist, who was part of the class, who I think was a little terrified that she would be presenting art projects. And I think after the first one, she realized that it is a pretty uh, generous environment, right? We're really there when we're critiquing the projects and discussing the projects. We're really there to be encouraging and to be respectful. And so I think once she saw that, she felt that she could participate and try something she'd never done before, and I think it was really fulfilling for
Mm-hmm.
her, and it was great to have her expertise in the class as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and to follow on from that, like we're really sort of looking at improvisation as well as one of the things that we're excited about. So like when it's a kind of yes and not no editing
Uh-huh.
kind of. So I think that's another really exciting thing, that you're coming up with ideas and then acting on them very quickly and then learning from following them through, rather than spending a lot of time kind of trying to perfect your starting point. You're just jumping straight in and learning through the process of realizing the work.
And this is a good thing for us as well, because both Lenka and I tend to be very research based,
Mm-hmm.
and our relationship to making is very planned out, very research based, and not necessarily so intuitive. Although our first relation to a site might be intuitive, after that you kind of really dig in and do research. In this case, we're really also uh, doing very different things from how we normally proceed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons, kind of the inspirations behind the class, is that there's not that many spaces in life where you're just
Yes.
encouraged to be extremely free, we'll make something quickly, and then we'll take it seriously and collectively look at that together. So it's kind of a lack. So that's why we kind of designed the class with that as the focus.
Mhm. Yes, I love that. What I'm hearing is something that I have a couple of friends that also say this. It's kind of almost that as if the class provided space for the students to be in draft and
Hmm.
work together throughout the
Hmm.
sessions and maybe even afterwards with each other inside the community and
Hmm.
so on and so forth. I would be interested in seeing I'm just excited, but I would be interested in seeing, for example, an artist that's been working for so long at a specific medium, then now having to approach it differently or having to approach it like not even the medium, just change mediums
Hmm.
entirely. Maybe they want
Great.
to start writing. I don't know. I think that could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
interesting. Yes, and I love that your feedback and the students' feedback of the environment being very supportive, because I have taken many classes at the school and I have my at first felt a little insecure because I don't know these people, they come from many different countries, and then that kind of dissipates as you go to the second session.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of our assignments are kind of designed to do that, to really have people get to know each other, and we're playing with the sort of also maybe the cliches of online teaching, right? So the
Uh-huh.
first thing you have to do is kind of introduce yourself. So for instance, one of the assignments we have right at the beginning is to ask people to, well, maybe I don't want to say it because
I know. I was
I know we're
thinking.
getting, yeah. I'm not going to say it
Okay.
because
It's funny.
yeah, it's funny, but I think it's such a successful assignment. We're going to use it again. So I don't want to give anyone a head
No
start because
spoilers.
this is really not
No
about having a
teasing.
head start. This is about being really responsive to the
Yeah.
prompt of the day. It's very
Mm-hmm.
liberating, I think.
Yeah, and all the prompts are things that can kind of be carried out alongside your everyday life
Mm-hmm.
while you're making dinner, while you're taking care of the kids. When it's
Yeah.
like things that you'll get inspiration and materials from what you're doing anyway.
And the good thing about this being the second time we're offering this is that we can work out some of the quirks,
Mm-hmm.
right? So um, I think a lot of the assignments worked really well, but some of them could be better. So we're going to be able to perfect that and or find alternatives to things that we feel like, you know, just didn't quite hit the mark. So that's the advantage of having a second shot at doing this class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. That on that note, what do you hope or what do you think participants would take from the class? Like you said a little bit about already, Lenka, of them then being able to applicate, I don't know, apply the things they learned in class in their everyday lives. But could you give some examples of that?
Yeah, I think a little bit of what the class is about is like we're temporarily granting permission to play and let these very sort of quick, intuitive things be important and resonant and sort of explore them together. And that's something once you've done it, we're going to do it several times. Each class is kind of an opportunity to redo that. And that's something that you can't get rid of. Once you've made, 5 different art projects within a 6-day period, you'll always have done that. And next time you're approaching, coming up with an idea or sort of identifying the way that you want to move with your work, that experience will be in you and you'll know that actually, I did 5 projects within 6 days.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It has definitely a kind of confidence
yeah,
building
yeah.
aspect to it, and I think it is something that can can help to if you have a particular kind of laborious methodologies, it can help to show you that there is another way to try these things, and it is very, for
Yeah.
us, I think it's been helpful for me too to realize, like,
Yeah.
okay, so if I didn't have the conditions that I normally work on, could I still make something that makes sense and is worth doing?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it definitely is the case. Yeah.
And it's something, it's so kind of open to any type of work and any kind of material that it's something that anybody could, bring into their work afterwards.
Yeah, and it's also, how can we work without the infrastructure of an institution or without a budget? And, like,
Right.
these are not tasks that are going to cost anyone any
Mm-hmm.
money. And so that's also a liberating and fulfilling thing as well.
Yes, yes. I feel especially for artists that are outside of, MFA, BFA, PhD programs now that are, I think of my emerging artist friends that are now building their studio, their home studio, and have to work something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that could
Yeah.
be really beneficial. Or people who are just working at home and still want to be involved in art or have other career fields. I feel like art is very liberating in that sense, where even as an artist I usually work in a project for 2 years, but I have like these mini breaks in between to also work and be creative, and I feel like your class provides that for others.
That was well put.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Underline that.
Yes, thank you. um,
And
do
there's
you
there's also like a aspect, it's a joyful process, right?
uh,
And we really do, we want everyone involved in this class to, to work hard, but also to have a really good time. And,
mhm,
one of the things that I think works well with the alternative art school is that people make connections.
mhm,
And often those connections really continue after the class. And I've had lots of people from previous classes who, get together now, didn't even, maybe they're even in the same city and they don't know each other and suddenly discover each other. And that's an important thing about any class, but it works really well with this class as well.
Yes. Well, with I don't want to spoil the class, but could you give us one example maybe of a previous like outcome, artwork, a student of yours that kind of surprised you or that, just stood out for others to kind of get a feeling?
I don't know how to do that without
Yeah, I
giving it
don't.
away.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that without giving it away.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
I'll say
Yours.
that
yeah,
the last project that we did resulted in some really, that was a collaborative project. So we set that on the first day, and at the end it's resolved. That's the one with the longest period of time. And
yeah,
there was some, and people worked together, and there was some really beautiful outcomes. People were sort of able to share very meaningful part of their story, often something that they hadn't shared with people before, and then somebody else gets to respond to that physically, and then at the end it's sort of revealed to each other. And I don't want to give it away, but there was a lot of really beautiful objects and sort of conversation that came up out of that.
yeah. And part of that also is when we're pairing the students, you might end up with someone from on the other side of the world,
Mhm.
and you have to work together to figure out things like time zones and when you're actually going to be able to have these conversations. And so when there's not so much emphasis on making a perfect expression of what you want, then that those things can become assets, and people find interesting ways of working around that.
Yeah, working with limitation and being kind of stronger for that, like finding creativity in those limitations is something that came up a lot.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's, I think for me, that's the biggest takeaway, at least
Mhm.
from this conversation, because I feel like as artists, there are a lot of limitations,
Yes.
and we have to find ways to work around them.
Yep.
And sometimes they can be very simple. For example, for me, it's that I have 36 shots of a film, and that's what
Right.
I have to work with because that costs money. For
Hmm.
other people, they only have a limited palette, or
Hmm.
for performance, they have limited space, and I think that's
Right.
that's a learning curve for sure.
Absolutely. Or some people have 1 hour a week free in
Yeah.
which to work, or, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, there's all kinds of limitations.
Yes. Well, I think these are all the questions I had. Is there anything you both would like to share or to add?
I'm reading that someone's left a little message saying, where can you apply?
Yes.
That's
So you can
want to make sure they get
apply.
the answer.
You can apply at the Alternative Art School website under courses. You find this something out of not in course linked. If you apply with membership, you also get access to our inside community and get more prompts and more integration within the test community. And you can apply until November 5th. So you have 2 weeks. So run and get your applications in. And if anyone else has any questions, please drop them in the chat
Yeah.
or I can answer
And
them privately
and the
as
and
well.
the class is not big because it's
No.
really a class where everyone has to, we have to go through everyone's proposals, everyone's projects. So we want to keep the class small enough that everyone gets their opportunity to present their work
Mhm.
each and every class. So
Yes. And B, I feel like for this smaller cohorts, that's the biggest thing where everyone gets their time
Yeah,
and attention from
yeah,
other projects.
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I think that's all for today.
Perfect.
I'll be
Thank
here
you.
if anyone has any questions, and thank you so much. I apologize for the confusion.
oh no, that's
You will
Oh,
have
okay.
and it was all our doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See ya.